Welcome to Infinite Heart Stories, where we explore the hidden battles of the soul and the courage required to change. Meet Alex, a 27-year-old man who appeared to have everything together, yet felt his spirit slowly dying every single day. He held a stable job and lived comfortably, but deep inside, a silent alarm was ringing that he could not silence. The problem was not his career or his health, but the invisible chains of the people he called his best friends. We often believe that old friendships are sacred bonds, but for Alex, they had become heavy anchors dragging him down deep. First, there was Mike, who spent every waking hour on video games, refusing to work and mocking anyone who tried hard. Then there was Sarah, the eternal victim who drained Alex's energy by complaining about problems she never intended to actually fix. Dave was the talker, always bragging about million-dollar ideas that never happened, living in a fantasy world of delusion and arrogance. Finally, Lisa, who spent money she did not have to impress people she did not like, trapping herself in debt. Alex loved them because of their shared history, but he failed to realize that history is not enough to sustain a future. He found himself shrinking his dreams and hiding his ambitions just to fit into the small conversations they were capable of. Whenever he spoke of growth or new ideas, they rolled their eyes, pulling him back into their comfort zone of mediocrity. He was slowly becoming the average of his environment, losing the spark that made him unique, settling for a grey existence. The turning point arrived on the evening of his 28th birthday, a night that was supposed to be a joyous celebration. He had reserved a large table at his favourite restaurant, inviting all his closest friends weeks in advance to ensure attendance. 7 o'clock came and went, but the seats remained empty, and the silence in the restaurant began to feel incredibly loud. By 7:30, he realized that no one was coming, and the pity in the waiter's eyes was painful to witness. One by one, the excuses arrived via text message, casual and careless, proving how little they valued his special day. Sitting there with a single candle burning, Alex felt a wave of loneliness that was colder than he had ever known. But in that darkness, a light turned on inside him, revealing the harsh truth he had been avoiding for years. He realized he was pouring his ocean into cups that had no bottom, trying to fill people who refused to be full. He paid the bill for the empty seats and walked out, leaving behind not just the restaurant, but his old life. The next day, seeking clarity, he met with Mr. Richardson, an old mentor whose wisdom Alex had neglected for too long. Richardson listened to the story of the birthday disaster without interrupting, his eyes full of understanding rather than simple pity. He looked Alex in the eye and shared a fundamental law of life that would change the young man's perspective forever. He said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, whether you like it or not. If those 5 people are stagnant, lazy, or negative, their gravity will eventually pull you down to their level of existence." Alex argued that he was strong enough to resist, but Richardson shook his head, explaining the subtle power of social environment. They do not hold you back because they hate you, Alex. They hold you back because your growth highlights their failure. Your success becomes a mirror reflecting what they could have been if they had tried. And that reflection is painful. It is the crab bucket mentality. If I cannot have it, neither can you, so we will stay here together forever. Alex realized he had a choice to make. Stay comfortable and decay, or step into the unknown and potentially grow. That evening marked the beginning of his isolation phase, as he started to systematically remove the noise from his life. He stopped accepting invitations to pity parties and gossip sessions, choosing instead to spend his evenings learning and building skills. The backlash was immediate and harsh. His old friends mocked his new discipline, calling him arrogant and predicting his failure. The first month was the hardest, as the silence in his life became deafening without the constant distraction of drama. He questioned if he had made a mistake, wondering if a bad circle of friends was better than having no circle. But he remembered Richardson's advice that solitude is the price of admission for a new life, a temporary tax. 3 months passed, and slowly the pain of loneliness began to transform into the peace of solitude and self-discovery. He forced himself to attend a local startup meetup, stepping into a room full of strangers who shared his ambition. Instead of complaints, he heard conversations about ideas, solutions, and the future. The energy in the room was electric. He spoke his mind, and for the first time in years, he was not shut down but encouraged to elaborate. He met Mark, a developer who pushed Alex to launch the project he had been scared to start for years. These new friends did not tolerate his excuses. They held him accountable, demanding his best, because they saw his potential. The contrast was stark. While his old friends were planning their next hangover, his new circle was planning their next decade. He realized that true friendship is not about how long you have known someone, but who helps you become better. 6 months later, he crossed paths with his old group, sitting at the exact same table, making the exact same complaints. He felt no anger, only a distant compassion for people who had chosen to stay in a cage with an open door. He kept walking, moving toward the people who inspired him, leaving the ghosts of his past where they belonged, behind him. The loneliness he had feared turned out to be the tunnel he had to crawl through to reach the light. Mr. Richardson was right. By changing his 5 people, Alex had fundamentally changed the trajectory of his entire life. It requires immense bravery to walk away from history, but your future is too expensive to pay for with your past. You cannot change the people around you, but you can change the people you choose to be around you. If you look around and see no inspiration, it is not a sign to settle, but a sign to move. Alex became the person he needed when he was younger, breaking the cycle of mediocrity and starting a cycle of growth. True friends are not those who hold your ankles to keep you safe, but those who lend a hand to pull you up. Life is too short to spend it with people who suck the happiness out of you like a vacuum. Remember the empty chairs at Alex's birthday? They were not a tragedy, but a necessary space for the right people. The temporary pain of being alone is far better than the permanent pain of regretting who you could have become. Audit your circle today. Ask yourself if they are fueling your fire or slowly pouring water on your dreams. Do not be afraid to walk alone for a while. The right tribe is out there, waiting for you to arrive. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Make sure those 5 are worth emulating. Your potential is a flame that needs oxygen. Don't let the people around you suck the air out of the room. This has been a story from Infinite Heart Stories. If this resonated with you, please share it with someone who needs it. Thank you for watching. Remember to choose your circle wisely, for they are the architects of your future destiny. Goodbye. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we uncover more truths about navigating the complex journey of adulthood and self-growth. Every step you take away from toxicity is a step closer to the person you were always meant to be. When you clear the weeds from your garden, you finally make room for the flowers to bloom and grow beautifully. Invest in your mind and surround yourself with giants, and you will find yourself standing on their shoulders, reaching new heights. Like a tree, you need good soil to grow tall. Do not plant yourself in a desert and expect to thrive. Open the windows of your life. Let the fresh air in and let the stale air of the past escape. The most important relationship you will ever have is with yourself. Protect it fiercely from anyone who tries to damage it. The universe is vast and full of incredible people. Do not limit your world to a tiny circle of negativity. Infinite Heart Stories is here to remind you that you are the author of your own story. Write a good one. Thank you for being part of our community. We will see you in the next video. Keep growing and keep going.